Researchers Stone, Joseph, and Jones conducted a content analysis of print advertisements in 2003 on the advertisements that appeared in Sports Illustrated magazine during the 1980s and 1990s. This study established a solid base for which researchers could compare change over time. In 2010, Ruihley, Runyan, and Lear replicated this content analysis to provide validation for the earlier work that was done and to identify changes in the way advertisers have recently used celebrity athletes in print advertisements. This study extends and unpacks the issue of race in such ads to explore advertisers' use of African American endorsers to promote products and answers the call to extend research using recent data while introducing new variables. Over the years, print advertising has become an important historical record. Although researchers have recognized that African Americans have been historically underrepresented in general periodicals, professional sports, however, have been recognized as offering opportunity based on athletic ability and not race. To date, though, there is little research on whether top-ranked African American athletes receive that same level of print endorsement opportunities as Caucasian athletes of similar skill level. This study looks at, does race affect the way celebrity athletes are advertised, the racial composition of the major professional leagues, and compares those data with the representation of race in Sports Illustrated ads. This study proposes 4 hypotheses, one being there will be a significantly fewer Sports Illustrated ads featuring athletes as endorsers during the 2000s period than there were featured during the 1980s period. The second being the number of print ads featuring female athletes as endorsers will have significantly increased between the 1980s and the 2000s period. A third hypothesis states, of those featuring a human endorser, the number of ads featuring a Caucasian athlete will be significantly higher than the number of ads featuring an African American athlete in each of the 3 periods. The fourth and final hypothesis proposes that the number of ads featuring an African American athlete will significantly increase from the 1980s period to the 2000s period. This study also proposes 2 research questions. Number 1. Of the ads featuring an athlete, will the percentage of ads featuring an African American within each of the 3 periods be significantly different than the percent of African American All-Stars in those periods? And number 2, of the ads featuring an athlete, will the percentage of ads featuring a Caucasian within each of these 3 periods be significantly different than the percentage of Caucasian All-Stars in those periods? A content analysis was used to analyze the use of celebrity sport endorsers in product advertising. Following previous researchers, this study looked at print advertisements in Sports Illustrated. For a 6-year period, 12 issues per year were analyzed. A random number generator was used to generate which ads would be assessed. They then coded ads that pictured humans as celebrity athlete, celebrity non-athlete, regular model, coach, athletic team, celebrity group, celebrity athlete group, non-team, and regular group. To address the research questions, they coded every all-star athlete participating in the National Football League, Major League Baseball, and the National Basketball Association for the 3 sample periods. This study replicated the findings from the study done in 2003 and confirmed the findings that there were fewer Sports Illustrated ads featuring athletes as endorsers during the 1990s than during the 1980s. It was also found that the number of ads featuring female athlete endorsers from the 1980s to the 1990s did not increase significantly as the previous study had predicted. In extension to the 2003 study, they found a significant increase in ads featuring celebrity athletes. Results indicate an average of 15.33 celebrity athletes used per year in the first period and 39.33 in the third period, therefore rejecting Hypothesis 1. Hypothesis 2 proposed that the number of ads featuring female athletes as endorsers would increase between the first period and the third period. The results support this claim as there was an increase from 6 ads to 30 ads featuring female athletes in the 2000s. You can see these results shown in Table 1. A rejection for Hypothesis 3 occurred as results indicated a significant disparity between groups in both the 1980s and 2000s period, but no significant difference in the 1990s period. Hypothesis 4 is supported by proving that African American athletes were in 23 ads for the 1980s period and 73 ads for the 2000s period. These results are shown in Table 2. In regard to research question 1, independent samples were used to show that in the 1980s period, African American athletes comprised 48.97% of total All-Stars, but only 25.05% of ads featured an athlete. This difference is considered statistically significant. In the 1990s period, African American athletes represented 56.32% of total All-Stars and 50.91% of ads, what indicates that this data is not statistically significant. Lastly, for the 2000s period, African American athletes made up 52.25% of total All-Stars with only 38.66% of ads. These results proved to be statistically significant. You can note all this data in Table 3. As we move to question 2, Table 4 illustrates all of this preceding data. In the 1980s, Caucasian athletes made up 45.03% of All-Stars and 72.99% of ads featured an athlete, which is a statistically significant difference. In the 1990s period, Caucasian athletes made up 35.095% of All-Stars and 48.33% of ads, but does not prove to be statistically significant. Finally, the 2000s period indicate that Caucasian athletes made up 32.18% of All-Stars, but 62.57% of ads, resulting in a statistically significant difference.